The bank lobby fell strangely silent the moment the exhausted father stepped through the glass doors. His faded jeans were dusty, his old boots carried the marks of endless hard work, and in his arms rested a sleeping little girl whose tiny fingers still clung to his worn jacket as if she feared the world might take her father away. He looked like someone life had forgotten, someone carrying far more than anyone should ever have to bear. When he quietly whispered that he only wanted to check his account balance, a few people exchanged amused glances. Then a receptionist let out a soft laugh, assuming this poor man had almost nothing left in his account. But only seconds later, after the numbers appeared on her screen, her smile disappeared completely. Her face turned pale, her hands trembled, and the entire atmosphere inside the bank changed forever. Before we continue this unforgettable story, please take a moment to like this video, leave a comment, share it with someone who believes kindness still exists, and subscribe to Heartline Stories if you believe in second chances and the incredible power of compassion. Your support helps us bring more emotional stories like this to life. The man's name was Rowan Mercer, a 38-year-old construction worker whose life had been turned upside down nearly 4 years earlier. His wife had passed away unexpectedly after a sudden illness, leaving Rowan to raise their daughter, Ivy, completely alone. Every morning before sunrise, he would wake up, prepare breakfast, braid Ivy's golden hair as best as he could despite never learning properly, and take her to daycare before spending 10 exhausting hours lifting bricks, pouring concrete, and doing whatever work was available. At night he would return home, cook dinner, help Ivy draw colorful pictures, read bedtime stories, and quietly cry after she had fallen asleep, hoping she would never hear the pain hidden behind the bedroom door. Money had never been easy. Medical bills had emptied almost every dollar the family had saved. Rowan sold his truck, canceled every luxury, and even moved into a tiny apartment where the roof leaked whenever it rained. Still, he refused to complain. His daughter never went hungry, always had clean clothes, and every birthday somehow included a small homemade cake with candles Rowan carefully saved throughout the year. Most people judged him without knowing his story. His rough appearance made strangers assume he was careless or irresponsible. Few realized that every wrinkle on his face had been earned through sacrifice rather than age. Every stain on his clothes came from honest labor. Every scar on his hands represented another day spent building homes for families while struggling to hold his own family together. That particular afternoon, Rowan had received a letter from an attorney asking him to verify his identity at the bank regarding an account connected to his late grandfather, someone he had barely known as a child. Rowan almost ignored the letter, believing there had surely been some mistake. His grandfather had disappeared from the family decades ago after disagreements that nobody ever explained. Rowan never expected anything from him and had built his entire life believing success could only come through relentless effort. After finishing work early because Ivy had developed a slight fever, he carried her into the nearest bank branch rather than waking her. She rested peacefully against his shoulder while he waited patiently in line, surrounded by sharply dressed professionals checking expensive watches and scrolling through luxury phones. When his turn finally arrived, Rowan politely explained that he had received a letter asking him to verify an account balance. The receptionist barely looked at him before smiling with obvious disbelief. She assumed this tired laborer had misunderstood something. Her expression suggested she expected to see only a few dollars, perhaps an overdrawn account or an old savings account forgotten years ago. As she entered the account information, her casual smile slowly faded. She blinked once. Then twice. She refreshed the screen, thinking the banking system had malfunctioned. The number remained exactly the same. The balance exceeded $78 million. For several long seconds, she simply stared at the screen, unable to breathe. She quietly called the branch manager, who hurried over with concern, expecting a technical issue. After carefully reviewing the documents, verifying Rowan's identification, and checking multiple security systems, the manager realized everything was completely legitimate. Rowan Mercer was the sole legal beneficiary of an enormous family trust that had quietly grown through decades of investments, businesses, and real estate. Neither Rowan nor anyone else in the lobby understood why the grandfather who had vanished so many years earlier had chosen this path. But inside the inheritance documents lay a handwritten letter. It explained that Rowan's grandfather had spent much of his life consumed by pride and regret. He had watched from a distance as his grandson became a hardworking husband and later an incredibly devoted father. Although he never found the courage to reconnect while alive, he quietly followed Rowan's life through trusted family friends. He admired how Rowan never abandoned responsibility despite unbearable loss. Rather than wasting energy blaming the world, Rowan continued choosing love every single day. The old man wrote that true wealth was not measured by money but by character, and Rowan had already become richer than anyone he had ever known. The inheritance was never meant as a reward for being poor. It was a recognition of becoming the kind of man every family hopes to have. Tears rolled down Rowan's weathered face as he held the letter with trembling hands. He wasn't crying because of the money. He was crying because, for the first time in years, someone had seen his invisible sacrifices. The receptionist, overwhelmed by guilt, quietly apologized for judging him based solely on his appearance. Rowan simply smiled with gentle kindness. He told her that everyone makes mistakes, and that sometimes people are carrying battles nobody else can see. His forgiveness embarrassed everyone who had silently judged him moments earlier. Life changed dramatically after that day, but not in the way many expected. Rowan bought a modest home with a sunny backyard where Ivy could finally play safely. He established college scholarships for children who had lost parents. He created emergency housing for struggling single mothers and fathers. He funded medical treatment for families drowning in hospital bills because he remembered every terrifying night wondering how another payment would be made. He even returned to the construction sites occasionally, not because he needed the paycheck anymore, but because he wanted to personally help build affordable homes for families starting over. The greatest change, however, happened inside little Ivy's heart. She watched her father use unexpected wealth not to become powerful, but to become even more generous. She learned that kindness grows strongest when shared, and that true success is measured by the number of lives we lift rather than the size of our bank accounts. Years later, many people would remember the millionaire who arrived at the bank wearing dusty boots. But Rowan preferred being remembered as something much simpler, a father who never stopped showing up for his daughter, even when life offered every reason to give up. His story quietly spread through the town, reminding everyone that appearances rarely tell the truth. Sometimes the richest person in the room is not the one wearing the finest suit, but the one carrying the greatest heart. If this story touched your heart, please write the word kindness in the comments below. We'd love to know you're watching from wherever you are in the world. As this story comes to an end, if Rowan and Ivy's journey inspired you, please like this video, leave your thoughts in the comments, share it with someone who needs hope today, and subscribe to Heartline Stories. Your support helps these meaningful stories reach more hearts, reminding people that compassion, forgiveness, and love can still change the world. Sometimes, all it takes is one act of understanding to transform a life forever.